Hey folks, it's Bergen here, taking you on yet another insider's tour of Jasper National Park. Today we want to show you the top 10 free picnic sites in Jasper. We're close to Jasper's East Gate on Highway 16, exploring what's left of a ghost town called Pocahontas. If you turn off the highway at Annette Mountain Cabins and park in the lot opposite the cabins, you will find a lovely picnic area on a paved walkway through the remains of the former town. Pocahontas was a mining town that existed for less than 30 years. It was named after a successful mine in Virginia in hopes that this mine would be as good as its namesake. At its peak, Pocahontas grew to have a population of about 2,000 people. The town was divided into two parts. Upper Pocahontas consisted of family homes running along two streets. Lower Pocahontas housed the mining offices and a railway spur to the tipple where the coal was loaded into railroad cars. If you look around carefully, you can still find traces of the old town. This storage unit behind me is where they stored their explosives for the mining operation. Where we're at now, folks, is a basement. There is solid concrete walls all around us with support pillars that were scattered throughout the main part of the building. We suspect that it's probably a home for the generators for the power plant, which is right behind us here as well. Behind me is the root cellar that was utilized for the storage of perishable goods. What we're looking at here, folks, is the concrete remains of the old powerhouse. You see, they had electricity for the mine and for the town. One of the things that you have to be cautious about, folks, is that there's lots of rebar sticking out of the ground everywhere and concrete, so be cautious with your children. The last man to leave town in 1937 was Robert Stone, the local postmaster. Although there's nowhere to officially sit and eat, people have been stopping to play in Jasper Lake for decades. On a hot summer day, it's not unusual to see folks pull out coolers, pack meals, or even haul small barbecues to the water's edge. Jasper Lake is 20 minutes east of the town of Jasper, right beside the Yellowhead Highway, and stretches out along the road for about 10 kilometers. This is an extremely shallow lake, folks. It's only about knee-deep at the deepest, normally somewhere between your ankle and your knee. This water, folks, is part of the Athabasca River system. So when the river height comes up, this area floods out. And it's a long, wide area, all flat bottom. When the Athabasca River is fed with glacial meltwater in the spring and summer, it travels across the sand flat, leaving behind silt and rock flour, those tiny particles of rock that were ground down from the glacier's movement across this valley. It makes the floor of the lake powdery soft and just the right consistency to build sand castles along the shore. You can easily walk across the entire lake with kids or grandkids, and you often see people sitting in the middle of the lake in their own lawn chairs, their seats bone dry as they soak their feet in the cool mountain water. It is such a popular stop for families with young children that Parks Canada expanded the highway here to include a long parking lot and an outhouse in close proximity to this stretch of beach. Annette Lake is a local and a visitor's favorite for its beautiful day use. This lake behind me is known as a kettle lake. This lake was formulated when the Athabasca Valley Glacier retreated at the end of the Ice Age. This beautiful blue-green color that you see here behind me comes from a very fine silt that washes down from the mountains that's called rock flour. Rock flour, when it gets into the water system, absorbs the light and reflects back to the human eye that blue-green color. This lake is fed by an underground river system. It holds the name Annette. Annette was the wife of the very first superintendent of Jasper Forest Park. His name was Samuel Maynard Rogers. Annette Lake has an extensive day use area which includes sandy beaches, picnic tables, fire boxes, washrooms, a picnic shelter, a swimming dock, and a playground. It's a great place to bring the family. You can swim, canoe, or kayak in the lake. And once you get a license, you can fish here too. Just watch out for the scuba divers. There is also a 2.4-kilometer paved trail around the lake, which is wheelchair accessible. Bikes aren't allowed, but there are benches and interpretive plaques at several locations along the walkway. You will even pass a little quicksand lake. This is called Ochre Lake. It is on the very southeast corner of Annette Lake. Sixth Bridge is just a few minutes southeast of Jasper on Moline Lake Road. This is a lovely little picnic area, folks. The Athabasca River is just down here, and the Moline River is right here behind me beside our picnic tables. Can you hear the water? If you start your hike from the picnic area right here, cross this bridge, and you will see the trailhead sign right behind me. Just to avoid those crowds that you find up at Bridge 1, folks, what I'd recommend you do is come down here and park at Bridge 6 and walk up the Moline Canyon. Wow, what a tour to do. It'll take you somewhere between 2 and 3 hours, depending on your pace. Sixth Bridge is the trailhead for the Overlander Trail, the Flower Loop, and is either your first or last stop on the Moline Canyon hike. The Moline Canyon has been carved into the Palliser Formation, a layer of limestone deposited in a shallow tropical sea by lime-secreting plankton. The layer of limestone was named for John Palliser, who led the first scientific survey of the Canadian wilderness between Lake Superior and the Rocky Mountains in the late 1850s. Moline Canyon is more than 50 meters deep at certain points. There are 6 bridges built across the canyon to help you explore this magnificent gorge, which is being carved deeper each year. The canyon is full of waterfalls, fossils, and hitchhiking boulders. If you want the inside scoop of Moline Canyon, watch my video. It's called The 7 Secrets of Moline Canyon. 42 kilometers from Jasper on the Moline Lake Road is a beautiful riverside picnic area known as Bruce's Picnic Site. That site, folks, is right here beside the Moline River. This river got its name from a Jesuit priest by the name of Etienne de Smet, who in 1846 was having difficulty here with the river, and he called it Moline, meaning, of course, that it is evil or wicked. It's very fast, turbulent water, and extremely cold. There are 5 tables along the river, fire boxes, and an outhouse facility. I like to stop here when I'm doing a wildlife tour to explain the differences in animal antlers, horns, and paw prints to my guests, and to have lunch, of course. Just a short while ago, I had the opportunity to be up here with a family having a picnic. I made sure they were all looking at the river. You see, this is also a moose crossing, and we had a really nice female cow moose come walking out right into the open here behind the picnic tables, and boy, did they get excited when I drew their attention to it. Well, that cow made her way down the river, but it was quite an enjoyable moment. Here in a national park, we have bears in the area, all these predator animals, so just remember, whatever you bring in, you take out with you, or at least put your garbage in the garbage containers that Parks Canada provides here for you. We're sitting here with some wonderful people from Toronto, Ontario in Canada. Up here at Moline Lake, having lunch. But we forgot the ketchup. How can we eat without ketchup? Moline Lake is the largest glacier-fed lake in the Canadian Rocky Mountains. Ringed by ice-capped mountains, the lake is 22 kilometers long, averages 35 meters in depth, and is 97 meters at its deepest point in the south end of the lake. There are several picnic tables right off the parking lot and more along the water. This valley, where the lake lies, was carved by glaciers. The color of the water is that bluish-green turquoise color. The glaciers are also responsible for that. As they move and shift on the sides of the mountains, they grind a fine silt. It's called rock flour or mountain silt. And as that gets into the water system and gets wet, it absorbs some of the light spectrum and reflects back to us that blue-green color. Well known to First Peoples of the area, Moline Lake was called Shaba Imni, or Beaver Lake, by the Stoney First Nations. In 1907, Mary Schaefer, an exceptional mountain explorer and adventurer, was not able to find this lake when she started to look for it. But on her way out, you see they only have a 4-month window on horses to come up here and get out, or they get snowed in. And on her way out, she met Samson Beaver. He drew her a map of how to get here, and she came back the following year. The Mary Schaefer Walking Trail has several picnic tables along the water. There's also a restaurant, gift shop, and boat tours available for those who want to see the famous Spirit Island. This lake is home to 2 of Alberta's historic buildings, which you can see today. The first is the Moline Lake Chalet, which was built in 1927 by Jasper guide and outfitter Fred Brewster as a part of his Rocky Mountain camps. The second historic building is the boathouse, built by Donald Curly Phillips in 1928 for his guiding and fishing business, and yes, boat rentals are still available from his boathouse. When you come up here, folks, always keep your eye open for our moose, because we've got lots of them up here. You'll see them swimming across the lake, or you'll see them on the shores feeding on all of that vegetation that grows at the bottom of the lake. Just a short while ago, we had a beautiful bull moose in his velvet antlers right down here at Curly Phillips Boathouse. Welcome to Pyramid Island, one of the most scenic locations in Jasper National Park. This island and this lake, and by the way, that's 19 meters deep, share a common name with the mountain that's right here behind me. This is Pyramid Mountain. This is Pyramid Island. And this is Pyramid Lake. Pyramid Mountain, named for its shape by geologist James Hector during the Palliser expedition of 1857 to 1860. Pyramid Island is about a 10-minute drive from Jasper on Pyramid Lake Road, just a few minutes past the resort. You can drive or boat to Pyramid Island in season. Canoe, kayak, and paddle boat rentals are available at Pyramid Lake Resort. If you are driving, Pyramid Lake Road takes you right to the parking lot and the wheelchair accessible pathway. The only washroom and garbage facilities are right at the parking lot. You get to the island by way of a wooden footbridge that is also wheelchair accessible. There are picnic tables and several benches all around the island, providing amazing views of the scenery. One of the most famous people in the world to come and visit Pyramid Island was none other than Arthur Conan Doyle. Of course, he is the creator of Sherlock Holmes. And do his investigative theories work? They sure do, folks. He brought his whole family here. They had a picnic picnic here, and that was in 1923. If you do your math, that's 100 years ago. The one building that's here on the island is right here behind me. This is a rustic picnic shelter built in 1933 by those people that needed to work during the Great Depression. This is such a busy place. The beauty of it I can't even explain. We have so many weddings here. What a wonderful place to renew your vows. Can you imagine having your conference here, sitting here and looking at the most beautiful scene right in front of you, the mountain range, Mount Edith Cavell, which has snow on it and ice all year round. Folks, beauty beyond description. Just imagine, folks, having your picnic right here on Pyramid Island, and what a place for a family photo. It's also an amazing stargazing location. On a clear night, you can see up to 6,000 stars. And if they are out, stand on the bridge, face north for the best views of the Northern Lights. Highway 93A is part of the original road that was built to connect Jasper to Banff. It won't take you all the way to Banff now, but it's a scenic drive and quieter than the Icefields Parkway on the way to the Athabasca Falls. A few minutes south of Wabasso Campground is this spectacular spot. It's called Meeting of the Waters. You see, when you look over here, that big river, that's the Athabasca. And this smaller one is the Whirlpool River. In 1811, David Thompson was able to successfully navigate the Athabasca Pass through the mountains over to the Columbia River. It was shortly thereafter that this became a major trade route. Canoeists would paddle their way upstream here on the Athabasca River looking for this spot. And here they would paddle upstream on the Whirlpool River, and they would go through the Athabasca Pass over to the Columbia River. That area was one of those locations for their fur trade. 35 years after David Thompson had successfully navigated this Athabasca Pass route over to the Columbia River, the Oregon Treaty was signed. The treaty, of course, established the 49th parallel as the border between Canada and the United States. It was at that time that the fur traders abandoned this route because, of course, it went down into the United States. So instead of doing the Athabasca Pass, they went through the Yellowhead Pass over to the other part of what's known today as British Columbia. It's a lovely place for lunch along the river. There are picnic tables, a washroom, and several parking spots available. And in the summer, you might just see some of the local raft companies put into the river here. We are here at Athabasca Falls, about half an hour south of Jasper on the Icefields Parkway. The Athabasca River flows from the glaciers of the Columbia Icefields and is the largest river system in Jasper. The Athabasca was designated a Canadian Heritage River for its importance to the fur trade. It is also the longest river in Alberta. Narrowing to almost half its width at this gorge, the size of the river makes Athabasca Falls one of the most powerful in the mountain national parks. At 23 meters tall, the falls have carved deeply through quartzite into the softer limestone beneath, creating features in the landscape. In the spring and summer, meltwater from the Columbia Icefield washes away an additional 2 millimeters of stone from the falls every year. As you walk around the falls, you will find some of these places that are old passageways for the water. And when you reach your hand out and you touch the walls, you will feel the incredible smoothness of the rock. That, folks, is a testament to the power of this river. There are picnic tables right by the parking lot. And they have tables like this that's wheelchair accessible. Folks, come and enjoy it. It is a beautiful spot. Be sure to dispose of all garbage properly. There are a lot of bears in this area, and when bears and humans interact, bears are destroyed. So please leave your space cleaner than you found it. When I bring a tour to the Icefields Parkway, we always stop for lunch here at the Stutfield Glacier. This is my version of dinner and a show. This glacier, the Stutfield Glacier, is about an hour south of the town of Jasper on Highway number 93, or the Icefields Parkway. It is the first glacier that you can see as you're traveling south towards Lake Louise. It is also the beginning of the Columbia Icefields, which is the largest icefields in the Canadian Rocky Mountains. So when you look behind me, folks, you can see a lot of beautiful fresh snow up there, and you can see 914 meters of glacial ice on that mountain face. Absolutely gorgeous. One of the things that I enjoy immensely is to come and bring a tour through here. We usually stop at Sunwapta Lodge to get some lunches, and then we'll drive up here. There are beautiful picnic tables and benches and rocks to sit on. We'll drive up here to have our lunch. I'll warn our people twice, not once, but twice, that they have to guard their lunch with their life, because we have ravens and crows that are hungry too. And every single time, somebody will jump up from their lunch and go and get a picture, and then they can wave goodbye to their sandwich as the ravens fly off with it. Folks, just a note of caution. These benches and this picnic table are right close to a very steep cliff. Keep an eye on your children. In the same token, if you're having a lunch, watch your sandwiches. You don't want to see them flying away. You know, folks, when you're out for a drive and you want to have a beautiful picnic, why would you not come here to the Columbia Icefields? It's only about an hour 15 minutes south of Jasper. And look at the view. Look at the picnic tables that are right here. And you know, you can bring your RV and you can park for free right here behind me. You've got the Athabasca Glacier over my right shoulder. You've got the Dome Glacier over my left shoulder. So come on down and enjoy the beautiful scenery that's right here in front of you. Folks, stay safe, be well, and I'll see you in the mountains.